What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Crew 2, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the Alfa Romeo 4C Serpente Edizione. I actually think I'm getting closer to pronouncing this. It does actually help when you keep listening to them, but nonetheless, guys, I do want to take a look at this thing because for one, it was obviously last week's Summit Reward vehicle, plus I wanted to see how it really does compare to the regular 4C in the game as well, so there is going to be a few things that really set these cars apart, but one of the other reasons why I also wanted to do this though is to really show people that there is going to be a difference compared to like a Summit car. That way a lot of players might actually want to go after some of these cars in the future. So first I will show the Serpente right now, guys. So the first thing I actually noticed about this car is by far going to be the front of this thing and how this thing actually looks. I really do love the carbon fiber on the front of the headlights there. Plus, guys, the headlights are different. You can't even get these headlights on the regular 4C, which I will show you in a second. And I was also trying to see if this car is going to be wider, which I do think it actually is a little bit as well. And I really do love the livery on this car. Obviously, it's a Serpente and or, serpent. So the lights do remind me of like a snake, which I really do like the way that does look. Now, you can also see like the green matching the actual color of the vehicle. Like, I really do think Ubisoft absolutely killed the design of this vehicle. And my goodness, the rims on this car look absolutely insane. Now, moving over to the back of the vehicle. So the top part of the spoiler is obviously carbon. You guys will see like the green colored going on the top of it as well if I can, zoom in on that slightly. There we go. So you can actually see like the carbon and or like the green matching the car as well. Plus I did notice the engine compartment. You guys will also see the Alfa Romeo 4C is also the same color as the vehicle. So I really do enjoy the attention to detail on many of these Summit cars because my goodness, guys, you can definitely see there is a lot of thought put into many of these. For example, the entire roof of this car is also carbon right over here as well. And one of my favorite pieces is going to be the one on the side of the car here. I really do think it actually dresses the car up insanely well, but one thing I also do want to know, do you guys think there's too much carbon on some vehicles, or would you prefer to have the entire car wrapped in carbon? And I would say that's most likely one of the biggest highlights of this car is the fact that the color is actually matching the carbon fiber almost to a T. It looks awesome. You guys are obviously going to notice the back of the splitter and or the exhaust tip being like green. I really do like that they throw in little details like that, but overall though, guys, I really do love the way this Alfa Romeo looks. I really do feel like it's going to be an insanely unique vehicle, one of the craziest looking kits on it. And for me, one of the biggest highlights is by far going to be the rims on this car. I would love to customize more rims like this, almost similar to what like the Spider Blast edition as well. I do think customized rims like this really do fit so many of these vehicles now. But backing out of this though, guys, and moving over to the regular 4C here to show you a few things. So first things first, one of the biggest things I notice is you obviously cannot change the front of this car to look anything like the other one. So those headlights are not even a thing. And I would say these headlights are basically going to be like the closest thing. Even though that car is based off of like a snake, I would probably say this one's going to be based off a spider. So maybe it's going to be Spiderente. I think I'm kind of ruining this, but moving over to the next thing is going to be the rims here. So for this, you guys obviously have the black ones, but you can't do anything to them, which I would say a lot of players definitely want some type of like rim editor. My goodness, I hope Motorfest has an upgraded system of this, but moving over to the next stuff, guys, you can obviously make this carbon, and then you can also change like these side skirts here, but you can't have that special carbon piece on the side though. And then of course you can also change the rear fender, but if you guys do choose to do this, all it's going to do is this, so that's not that interesting. But moving over to the back wings now, you guys will have the stock one here on the back of this vehicle. Then we have this, which is obviously like a carbon fiber piece. Then we have the big one, so the wing on the Serpente is also going to be a bit different as well, which I do love that though. That way you can't actually replicate that vehicle. So when it comes to the back bumpers, you guys can get similar taillights and or carbon on those pieces as well, but that's basically the only thing that's actually going to match it. You also cannot have the exact same exhaust placement on this car either, so it really is going to look insanely unique, at least when it comes to that aspect though. And one of my favorite things about the Serpente is also going to be the way that emblem does look on that one. It's almost like a really nice, like clean type of like silverish finish to the car. So I think we can all agree that the one from the Summit is definitely going to be insanely unique. And I really do feel like a lot of players are going to love this vehicle, at least over the regular one. My goodness, guys, you really can't see the detail of this car, at least compared to the other one. But besides all that, though, let's go jump into this car right now and do an outside look of this thing, and then also take it on a top speed test. So when moving over to the outside look of the 4C here, one of the first things I notice is how bright those rims are, especially with the sun hitting them. I also currently have a Visitor and a very nice bi-turbo, but nonetheless, guys, you really can't see how they basically aim for this car to be like, well, I guess a snake, hence the name of this thing, but I really do love the way this car does look, guys, with the overall green plus that interior, and one of my favorite things about it is that inline 4. But moving over to the interior view of the Alfa Romeo, guys, so the first thing you're probably going to notice is again that really nice finish on that emblem. Then you're going to start seeing that green going around the vehicle, plus like the bottom of the steering wheel. I really do love the way this car does look. So you can see the green stitching, obviously like the hexagon style, like similar to like an Audi, I think. Then you're also going to see the carbon fiber down on the bottom. So the interior not only matches the outside of this car to a T, it also looks insanely nice in here. But now besides all that, let's see what the top speed of this 4C is actually going to be. So a lot of these cars do tend to have like a lower top speed and/or handle better. At least I have been noticing that trend with these vehicles, and/or they have a higher top speed and then they tend not to handle all that great. But let's see what the 4C can do here. So I am running a nitrochemist set, guys, and it can hit 246 miles per hour, 247, so it is going to be pretty dang decent. It's not going to be the fastest car, but one thing I can definitely admit, though, it is going to be faster than many of the other street cars. So when racing the Alfa Romeo 4C, there's a few things I did notice about this car. So the first thing, guys, is yes, it is going to have a bit of a lower top speed than like the Superleggera, but to be honest, I really don't feel like a lower top speed is really going to hurt it. And the main reason why I say that is one of my favorite street cars is indeed the Q60. That car does like 238 miles per hour on a good day, so the Romeo is actually a bit faster than I thought, guys. I really thought this car was going to do like 235 to 240, because normally some of these new vehicles do tend to have a lower top speed though, and I really do feel like a lot of new cars honestly cannot touch like the Superleggera and or the Lamborghini Countach as well. Those cars both do around 260, so they're most likely going to remain the king. But to be honest though, I don't think that's going to hurt the 4C. Like for example, if you guys did want to drive this car in a Summit, I really do think this thing is actually going to do insanely well. One of the first things I noticed about it is going to be its agility. It really does feel like it actually flies around corners, and it does feel like you can turn sharply, which I would say some cars really don't have that like light feeling to them, which I would say is going to be going for the 4C. And also considering this is like a go-kart, the 4C in real life is also insanely light, so I would say it definitely does feel like that on the Crew 2, which I really do have to give it to the developers for actually making this car feel like that. Now, one big positive as well, guys, with the Serpente is going to be its brakes. My goodness, around one of the corners I actually tapped the brakes and the car slowed down so dang fast. I was not really expecting the car to actually slow down because let's be honest, some of the brakes on the vehicles in the Crew 2 were pretty terrible. I would probably say some of the hypercars basically don't even have brakes on them, and if you were to try to like adjust them, it would basically get worse. So at least the 4C is actually going to be able to turn nicely, and it's going to have great brakes as well, which is always going to be a positive, especially for summits. I really do think this car is actually going to do insanely well, especially compared to like the Superleggera. Sure, the car is going to be like 13 or 14 miles per hour slower, but to be honest, guys, I really don't think it's going to hurt this car in like a negative way. And in fact, around corners, I would say the 4C is going to be an insanely good competitor, but overall, I would say this car is actually going to be pretty dang good, and I do hope the people that wanted it did actually go after this car and or get this thing because it does look pretty awesome, especially compared to the regular 4C. This thing really is unique. I absolutely love the carbon fiber. Those rims look insane, and my goodness, the headlights on this car, you can definitely tell what this thing is. I really do like when some of the Summit vehicles actually look really unique, and you really can tell they're actually something special. But overall, guys, I would like to know your thoughts on the 4C Serpente Edizione in the comments below, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more insight.